Right. Makes sense then, I suppose.
Yeah, there's only one.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I hope my audio is okay. I have changed so many things today, so I'm not quite sure if everything works, but I hope it will. We have also Stephen Hood already waiting there in the waiting room. So yeah, welcome everyone here to today's live stream. I hope so far you all had a wonderful day. And yeah, let's go basically with a hands-on of Le Mans Ultimate. The big June update is coming. A lot of fixes, 2 new cars, 1 new track, a lot of new online features. Like we can have proper teams now. There will be driver swaps in the special events, and yeah, then even the Le Mans week, right? On the weekend, it will be the Le Mans 24-hour race, which is exciting. and therefore I think that could be a big push for Le Mans Ultimate right now. They are doing great, I think, personally, with the updates. It's one of my favorite titles to drive right now. That said, we of course still try to stay objective and be critical also with Stephen Hood today. If you don't know, Stephen Hood is the CEO of Motorsport Games, the parent company of Studio 397, the developers behind back then R Factor 2, now Le Mans Ultimate. And I hope you have your questions prepared. So we will do it in a way that I will drive the new content. Like I will start with Qatar, with the Lexus, and meanwhile Yannik will be with Stephen Hood asking the questions. So we have prepared a few questions already from the website. There was a big thread where people could ask their questions, but you are also welcome to, of course, post your questions in the chat, and then we will tackle those as well. So let's jump into the call with Yannik, our editor, and also Stephen Hood. Let's see if they are already waiting for us. Okay, guys, I am here. We are just loading your images. And then, welcome, Mr. Stephen Hood, CEO of Motorsport Games. Stephen, how are you today? Welcome to Overtake.
Thank you for the warm welcome. I feel very good, nervous, excited, and ready to go. So I can't wait to see what you guys are going to throw at me. I'm here at your disposal.
It's great to have you. Also you, Yannik. Welcome, Yannik, here as well. You will drop the questions then, and I will
drop the question hammer. Yes.
I will have fun. I will have fun driving. You will drop the question hammer. And Stephen. So you are quite familiar right now with like many people are familiar with your face right now, because you are pretty much the face of Le Mans Ultimate now. You are presenting also the monthly updates. I saw your June update has well over 50K views even on YouTube. So you are also a big YouTube star, Stephen. So
that's good to know. I mean, what am I doing here in this job then? If I'm a YouTube star, maybe that's a time to branch out solo. You know, like a music band. I can go solo now. I'm only the face of it because I was the one crazy enough to stick my hand up and say I'll do it to begin with. But I'm certainly not the prettiest face. Maybe I'm a bit old for it, but I'm pleased that it's resonating with people. That's the main point. We're trying to be honest and open, and I think that's coming across. Or at least I hope it is.
Yeah. So before we throw questions at you, do you have any question for us already, maybe?
Well, for Overtake specifically, I would like to say or ask, what's your own personal opinion on Le Mans Ultimate? I mean, I don't want to be biased myself, but it's undoubtedly the best endurance racing game that's ever existed, and I just wondered if you concurred with that. Do you agree?
Yannik, you want to start?
No pressure at all. I mean, for hypercars, there's no question, no doubt about that. I love driving those, and I'm really looking forward to being able to do so with my own team or with my friends on like long stints and everything, because that's when these cars shine so much, and I think that's gonna be very enjoyable to a lot of people as well, considering the popularity of the cars right now. So yeah, I enjoy it very much personally. Yes.
Me too.
Very good.
Yeah. So I just told people when I had the intro without you guys that LMU is among the titles that I like to play the most right now. I also think the drivers online, like the community that is driving, even in the beginner class races, is fantastic. So yeah, I just have some great fun with it. I just love the feel in the LMGT3s when braking, like this ABS, and how it also like works with the force feedback effects and stuff. Like the feel you really get for the tires for the car right now is fantastic. And then especially the hypercars, like they are really, really, really real beasts that you have to tame, and it's just so much fun, and it feels so authentic. So I really enjoy it. 10 out of 10 right now. That I'm going to be honest with that.
10 out of 10. I mean,
the enjoyment of the driving. I mean,
indeed.
We will talk about it, and there's still of course stuff missing. But the driving and the experience right now is 10 out of 10. I'm just missing some tracks, but we will maybe get into that when we have the questions about maybe also future content and what's possible with the license and stuff. But yeah, maybe we can just dive in, Yannik, if you have the first question. So I will just start driving the new cars and the new track. So in the background, guys, you will just see me choosing the car and the track combination, and then we will just have some practice and some race, but we will focus on the questions now with Yannik and Stephen. So I hand the microphone to you guys.
Great, thank you very much. And thank you very much for sending in a lot of questions. This is quite a long list, so yeah, not even sure if we're going to get through all of them. Probably not, but there were a few that were very frequent questions, let's just say. Yeah, I guess there is some demand for certain things. Let's jump in with one of them first and foremost. I think that was by far the most asked question. And that would be additional content. So people have been wondering, will there be content from other ACO sanctioned series, like, what is it, Michelin Le Mans Cup, for instance. IMSA was another one that isn't under the ACO umbrella, of course. And the other question was historic content. So quite a lot to unpack here, but can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, I would say that, we're very conscious of the community's asks. And I always take it as a very good sign when people are asking for additional content. It means they're not saying, the core product or the core gameplay experience is so weak. They're saying we want more of this. And it stands to reason, right? Because Le Mans Ultimate in its initial offering is a narrow view of what it means to compete in endurance racing. So adding more series has always been an objective of ours, but a lot of people, and Overtake included, are very conscious of the history of motorsport games. Even though motorsport games today is really Studio 397, but when the companies had historically those kind of financial challenges, let's say, quarter to quarter, it's very difficult to look ahead with any degree of confidence and say, let's add this content, because you don't really know where you're going to be, month to month. That's not a great place. We're out of that period. Le Mans Ultimate and everybody buying into it has helped us enormously. And I'm pleased that that's worked, because it's given us the ability to chase those additional kind of series. So we would like to add more of them, and news on that will, no doubt appear this week as we roll into Le Mans. And what I can say is, yes, there will be more content coming to Le Mans Ultimate. This isn't a kind of just a quick drop in the ocean for us and moving on to another title. We're pushing to come out of early access. We're pushing to get to version 1.0 and adding more content that is attached to endurance racing and World Endurance Championship and Le Mans is the obvious go-to. And I think we're about to tick that box. Does it mean we complete all of it in one go? No. But there will be some exciting stuff announced. And historic content is probably, even though it brings tears to my eyes, a bit further down the list, because we've got to get today's product working. We've got to get additional content in there that is in, the season, in these calendars, let's say. And historic content is something I think we'd get to at a later date. But I'm sure we'll get there, because I see Le Mans Ultimate becoming a franchise rather than a single game. So there's a lot of content opportunities. So yes on all of those things. They just come in different times, and historic content will be the latter stage of the life cycle.
All right, so lots of things to look forward to, it would seem then.
Great, guys. Really, I could
Yes.
get to adjust something because we were just in this topic of content and stuff. So quickly
Right.
want to insert that question, because I would really love to see more tracks outside of the current license spectrum, so to say. Is there, with this being the official World Endurance Championship game and the Le Mans game, is there a chance to have other tracks than the ones that are in the official calendars of those championships?
I think there is a chance. It's not the go-to for us, just like historic content right now. I'd like to get the official championships and sister championships and series included first of all, because I think there's a really good, without sounding too kind of business-like, I'm not trying to put that CEO hat on today, but cool tracks and cool series that resonate in different territories around the world makes sense. But also, we've got a very strong relationship with the ACO, because it's a joint venture. And we had a very, really positive meeting with them a few weeks back when we were in Barcelona at European Le Mans Series. And we floated a bunch of ideas, and they were very receptive to all of them. So I think we can certainly go to other iconic tracks and probably incorporate them in Le Mans Ultimate. as it stands today.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't go too mad and completely outside of it, but there are, very famous tracks that I myself love driving that I would like to bring to the title in some endurance format.
Cool.
That's cryptic answer.
That's good to hear.
There you go.
And then quick message to the chat, guys. Let me know if the engine sounds are okay. If you can still hear Steven, which is very important. We can focus more on the sounds later when he's gone. So just make sure that you can hear every one of us okay. And then we're good. Okay, let's go.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, to kind of piggyback off of that, really, there was a question that was essentially aimed at that. Just need to find it really quick. But I think it was something along the lines of which of the tracks all over the world would be your favorite to add, like personally, with the modifiers of it not being an ELMS or it being the Nordschleife, because everyone asks that all the time, right?
Well, the question is, which track would I add?
Yeah, like completely removed from license, series, whatever, any international racetrack.
Oh, I mean, I've always had a soft spot for, back in the day, kind of Istanbul, the Turkish F1 track that people didn't seem to like. I absolutely loved that circuit. I think we might have had it in one of the early F1 games when I was involved, back in the days when everything was black and white. It was that long ago. I remember going to watch the race. It was amazing. It was great to drive, and I also have a very short recollection of going to a Red Bull party in a harbour on a boat where they had an after party, and so I've got nothing but good memories of the parts that I can remember. So I would go left field as well, but you said I couldn't vote for Nürburgring Nordschleife, but I absolutely want to get that in. There are some games that I bought just to drive that back in the day, and knowing it like the back of your hand is such an advantage over everybody else. I'm sure we can find a way to squeeze that in. So you can't take that off the cards. I'm voting for that one as well. But
Fair.
I think with the other series, there are lots of cool tracks that actually will come to the Le Mans Ultimate calendar in the not too distant future.
All right, that sounds pretty exciting then. Another question that came up quite a lot. That was about single-player game modes, specifically single-player championships, because people in our comments or in the comment section on the article felt like it could be or should be relatively easy to add an offline championship. What's your stance on that?
My stance on that is the same as it was when we started making the product, which is what is the out of the box focus, and the focus was and is today the online experience. That said, we chose to focus on the online experience because I thought that was a strong position for us at launch, and kind of dovetailed into all of the systems and services that we plan to roll out. I know a lot of people will turn around and say, well, that's just how they're trying to monetize, it's business. Well, it wasn't really. It was also, what we were strong at, the people that we had available to us. And Studio 397 is not known as a single player, racing game developer. Other than, I think Studio 397 have got probably some of the strongest AI in the business, and that doesn't really get the spotlight that I think it deserves. And single player for us will be probably the next step. You will have already heard us, teasing some things related to single player, but we'll talk about more this week, I'm sure. We have a dream of bringing career mode to Le Mans Ultimate, and that's a heavy single player focus. That's a step above championship mode. A lot of people will say, well, you can just throw championship mode into there and let us play out fantasy of playing through a season. And I get that, even though nothing is ever quick or simple, and we take on a lot of things with a very small team. We're less than 40 people in the organization today, and that includes everything, not just the development team. That's very small, okay? And I think we do a lot with those numbers, and we push ourselves as much as possible. But for the current release, it's all about multiplayer. but we're already starting to turn attention to, well, how do we go after the magic of single player? How do we improve upon that? So we've got a lot of the component pieces already, and if we left it alone completely, I think that would be a missed opportunity. So that's a long-winded answer of saying we know we can do a great single player experience, and it's on the cards. It is coming.
All right. That's also pretty good to know, I think, because I mean we've quoted our poll on that quite a few times, or quite a lot of the time recently. But at least in our community, there are a lot of sim racers who mainly go single player. So that should be good news for them further down the road. Definitely.
No, it's understandable, right? I've got a lot of friends who play racing games, and they don't want the stress of competing online.
Yeah.
They don't want to ruin somebody else's event, and they don't want to have to practice for several hours to be, competitive in the mid-pack. I get all of that, and we can do so much more with it, and we will. It's just we have to say there's a focus to begin with, and we've done well in multiplayer, and now we're going to do well in single player.
Well, that's really nice to hear. Because I agree. It's like I think there's way more people that we know of that really just want to enjoy this on their own.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is why the mid-session save, I think, is also already a very good start, because I mean I personally remember doing that on the PS1 back in the day with the Le Mans 24-hour game. I think in the US it was called Test Drive Le Mans. Just being able to race for a full 24 hours by yourself. That was pretty much a game changer, you could say.
Stephen, you changed the tire model again, right, for the LM GT3s. Can you go a little bit into detail what has been changed?
Yeah, we constantly change those things. So just as you get used to one thing, we change again. So the GT3 tire model, and a lot of people will quite rightly say, well, why do you keep focusing on the GT3s and you've not changed the LMP2s, you've not changed the hypercars? We will get to those, a bit more of a challenge. We thought we'd be through the GT3 tire update sooner than we were, which is the story of the product sometimes. You go down the rabbit hole of starting to change the tire model, you're not just tweaking a couple of numbers. It becomes a substantial product for us, because there are also a lot of things that were upgraded between R Factor 2 into Le Mans Ultimate. And in some cases, we changed things so substantially that we spent probably 3, 4, 5 times as long on some areas of development than was anticipated. But I think that's for good reason. There was a period where we were changing stuff on the tyres, and I thought, what have we done? People are enjoying the public version. Why didn't we just leave it as it was and we focus on fixing the other cars? For example, I think the hypercars are still a bit too, I say, sketchy to drive, a bit too awkward in some cases. There are some heroes out there who can wrestle them around the track. Yardier, for example, never ceases to amaze me. I'm not quite at that level, but I still like to enjoy the hypercars, right? They're very cool cars. The GT3s, we wanted to fix those tires before they're upgraded to others. So we
very snappy now.
Get rid of some of that slip feel. Like get rid of the slip. Like the cars in the public version always was not drifted, but you could slide them a bit too much. The front didn't really bite. I don't think there was a very defined feeling of when the tyres were gripping or letting go. And I think we've tried to improve all of those things, including the heating, the tyre wear, the balance on the tyres, how the braking feels, the acceleration, and then as a result, how the ABS systems work, how the traction control systems work. There are a few tweaks in those as well. Now you can see as you change the ABS settings, you're changing between balanced understeer and oversteer. That feeling of a car, I think now is more prevalent. It depends on the conditions of the track. So if you drive a cold track, that in some cars can feel more of a challenge because you can feel the understeer and you just want the tyres to become optimal. When you get the tyres in the right window, then for me, I don't think there's a better driving experience in this kind of car out there.
Yeah, perfect example. While you started talking about it, I just lost the rear.
Yeah.
It was very snappy, like you couldn't really rely on the slip angle on the rear axle as before. And as I'm driving in as you can see, guys, like the limit is very very small. So and I'm driving right now in the night in Qatar, so it's a bit colder. And I agree, it's a bit harder. Like the outside, especially the outside of the tire, quite cold. And if you overdo it, you just spin.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a balance for those. What I expect players to start commenting on is exactly what we already experienced in the development studio, which is you find people saying, I don't like the tires, or I lost the back. Why did I lose the tire here? Or on this track in this car, it was amazing. That's because of the balance of the tire temperatures and the track temp. And once you get that into a groove, you can just switch the car on, and it feels so good and consistent to drive, to the point where we've been driving a lot of stuff, Le Mans for the last few weeks in the anticipation of coming to Le Mans, obviously, this week. And you get that into the groove at the right time. The car feels so good. You can feel it dancing around beneath you as you brake into a corner. And you're just pushing the limit. You can feel the car slip. And you feel like a hero. And then you drive, 4-minute plus laps, but you're so consistent within like 1 or 2 tenths.
Yeah.
That is unheard of in a game that just enables you to drive however you want. There's no kind of like steering assist or anything like that for everybody.
I will now quickly try a
it's so
combination
consistent.
that I'm more familiar with, like a track that I'm more familiar with, to see really where the differences are, like in Sunshine now, to see really if it's really that snappy, because we just saw the Lexus, and it was my fault, obviously, driver mistake. But let's see how Imola is, for example. But you guys can just get going with the next questions. We have way too many.
Definitely, yes. But one that fits the current conversation or the current topic, I think, is that is like a bit twofold. For one, Shark VA on Overtake wants to know how instrumental has real-world racing driver feedback been in the development and revisions to the driving dynamics, tire modeling, physics, etc. And Ekip Matra wants to know about the feedback process that entails. Like, how does that actually work? How do these drivers give feedback? How does that help you?
Yeah, I think it's been instrumental in reaffirming our belief in how the cars should operate. Nobody internally just casting my mind over all the developers are also moonlighting as professional race car drivers, but we do get a lot of the data from teams, tire manufacturers, which isn't fed into the machine one-to-one. There's still a simulation that's taking place between getting the real data to putting it inside our engine. And even though that is quite advanced, there are still approximations made in some places, and you need driver feedback. Sometimes the numbers make it look like the car should be much harder to drive than it is in the real world. Like, one of the primary forms of feedback that's come through consistently is from the pro drivers. They're saying in the GT3 class, for example, don't forget that gentleman drivers still compete. Yeah. And the time difference between the gentleman drivers can be, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds between them and a high-rated pro, which is what we find in the studio as well. I'm kind of mid-ground, so I like to think of myself as a silver, maybe. But some people are slower, and some people are much faster, almost alien pace, which is in the same benchmark that you see in the real world. The feedback has been a gentleman driver or lady driver can drive this consistently and push the car and stay on the track. Right? Sometimes I think we lose ourselves with imagining that a simulation means that it's impossible to drive. It is not. It's the difference is how well you can wrestle that car around the track, make the tires last, get into the right operating window, and shave a few tenths here and there in every sector. That's the difference between the pro and the gentleman driver. I think we've started to catch that now. With this tire model update, I think it's there. The feedback has been, the front doesn't bite well on this track. The rear's too slippery. Actually, they were pulling us back from making it unrealistic. We were making it too hard in some cases, and they were saying it's not like that in the real life. It is if you abuse the car, but if you drive it within its limits, there should be more play. There's more room to make a mistake and recover it, which actually helps most sim drivers, even if we all think we're elitists and it should be hard. I think we've started to refine that balance. It's possible that we're still a little bit too difficult in some places, but the feedback from the community, I think we'll round off the edges once this is live.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it has to be a very exciting opportunity to work with the real drivers who drive the very thing you're trying to simulate not every week, but frequently.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think too many studios can do that. The way you have access to right now. I think you're traveling to most of the WEC rounds right now anyway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah. We go to the WEC rounds and we get feedback there, but also through David Perel and the SimGrid guys, and David's a good friend of mine and good friend of the studio. He's been a great facilitator in bringing more pro drivers for each of the cars into what we had to create, which is a private communications channel on Discord. We have alpha testers under NDA, a lot of very fast sim racers, and we had the drivers in there. And we also had to create, because there were so many pro drivers coming in, who've got sim rigs at home, who've got time to compete and give feedback. We had to create a separate channel for them so we can communicate with them directly. They've been enormously helpful, and kudos to Dave for bringing them in. But they love giving the feedback. It's they're trying to create the best simulation, and I think LMU is getting stronger and stronger from their feedback.
Right. Yeah, that's like I said, I think that's just really cool to have that opportunity. So yeah, looking forward to what that evolves to then. To get a couple more questions off the list here that have been popping up very frequently. I think the first one we should probably dive into, and that's been raised by Côte d'Azur on our website, but also multiple times in the live chat here. Will LMU ever be moddable like RF2 is?
I don't have plans for it.
Okay.
I can understand why a lot of people would want that, and it certainly helps out some legacy games, RF2 included. But because it's a licensed title, we don't plan to open that up right now. I wouldn't say that we would never do that, but it would probably be towards the end of its life cycle, to keep a product running. But what we're trying to create right now is, a very high bar for all of the content, so that anybody coming into the LMU experience knows that they're going to get something that's well built, consistent, functions with the rest of the product, rather than it being entirely open. That doesn't mean it's the only way that you should do something, but it's the approach that we've taken and seems to be resonating with people. And we have hard enough times as it is anyway to stop people just stealing the models and everything and ripping them out of the game and trying to put them into other products. So
well, that's
an
interesting
LMU cars in other games.
Interesting comment. No mods, please. No mods. So there's someone with you, JJ.
Yeah.
It's it's so like you say. I think a lot of people appreciate a steady sort of quality level throughout all the content, while others just want to be able to do much more things with it, or many more things. But it's something I think that you can see both sides of, really.
100%, but you've got to be able to say no to some things so that you can have focus. I mean, we got so distracted in the past that it nearly caused the downfall of the company. There are a lot of original modders for R Factor 1 and R Factor 2 that are in development team now. So we like to take the best people and bring them in-house, but we'd like to serve up a professional, high-quality product.
Right.
That's where we are today. Tomorrow, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, no one knows really, so let's see. Another question that popped up frequently was that about performance improvements, specifically DLSS and FSR implementation. Is there anything planned on that regard?
There are constant discussions internally about those. We're aware of all the technologies and things that we would like to do. I mean, there's a whole catalogue of, it's not just performance improvements. I think sometimes people think that we're not conscious of them or have chosen to ignore them. It's just that they're further down the development list. One would argue that maybe they become, they rise closer to the top of things that we would like to work on because of, for example, the deal we've done with Pimax, where we tried to do a good job with VR. It's still early days, but I think it's pretty solid. Pimax have come in, and obviously, they care about this technology and making sure that the VR experience is as strong as it should be. So I think there's work to be done. They're not on the immediate priorities. There are other performance-related things that we know we need to get to that affect a lot of people. And sometimes it's not because things need to be rewritten. There might be an error somewhere that is causing some kind of a moment of lag when you're driving around the track, or all of these things that people hate and don't have a place in a product. That needs to be improved, and that's where our focus is before we then get to the cherry on top stuff.
Right. Yeah, certainly. The foundation needs to be there, or as best as it can be, obviously. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, talking about the VR stuff, you kind of started on that a little bit. One of the questions that came up on the website by F2020, for instance, especially following the Pimax investment, what VR improvements are being worked on for now? And to add to that, from the live chat here, people have been asking about like little things like shifting animations and feet on the pedals, but also like hand tracking, for instance. So what's the status on that?
The status on that is that there isn't a specific piece of work that we're currently developing for VR. And VR is always being refined anyway, but in terms of like headline features that I would throw into the chat right now, there isn't. And the reason for that is the Pimax deal only happened recently, but obviously we had an interest in VR, which is what attracted Pimax in the first place. We have been behind closed doors, having very broad conversations with Pimax, because we're using them. Pimax do not lead what Studio 397 are doing. But they are opening the doors to, these are our challenges, this is where we want to focus, and obviously Pimax and PCVR is heavily involved in flight simulation and heavily involved in racing. It's probably like a 70-30 or 60-40 split at the moment in terms of user base. But we're talking to them about where does VR go in the future for racing? Instead of it just being like a technology race to implement new techniques that make the experience better optimized, because VR could still take some pretty chunky kit to work at its optimum. We're talking about what is the experience? Like, why would you get rid of your a single screen or a triple screen setup and jump into VR? I think it's easier to answer to for flight simulation once you've been in that cockpit experience and you try to fly and you look out the windows and you're positioning yourself versus the airport for coming into landing. In racing, I think people feel less compelled to jump into VR, and we don't all try VR. So it's not what the sales technique is, but what is the magic of being in VR and racing? That's the level of conversation we're having with Pimax at the moment, and that's wonderful to have that conversation with a VR company, because we can throw our ideas in and then vice versa. We are, I think, very dynamic and creative in the racing space, and we're quite bold as to what we intend to do. And we're thinking about where does VR and racing go in the future, and how would we, for example, integrate VR into Le Mans Virtual? Because I can tell you Le Mans Virtual is coming back, and that experience could be, the springboard for some of the conversations we're having in VR right now. How do we make that magic and must-have? Because I don't think it's must-have right now. It's a lovely, lovely experience, and we do really well in LMU, but how do we drive that experience forwards? So watch this space. Nothing definitive, but very exciting conversations.
Okay,
Sounds like a lot of potential then.
By the way,
so yeah, yes.
I just talk a bit about the AI experience, because I think like the AI even in practice traffic is quite gentle. So the hypercars, even if you block them, they're crazy. They are really gentle and they don't really run into you. And I just had a test of the damage model. Otherwise, I think the Lamborghini is great fun, and both cars. Greetings to the sound department. They both sound fantastic.
Yes, they're awesome. The audio is amazing in it. I'm full of praise for those guys. Really, really captures it.
Yeah, especially.
Definitely.
The V10 node was missing from LMU so far. With no Audi R8 in the competition anymore. So it's cool.
With the different engines, I think you end up, and we talk a lot internally about the personality of the cars. They're not just a different 3D model with a couple of numbers changed. They are significantly different, to the point where I think it almost caused us to combust internally, because we built the cars from the ground up. And the Lamborghini, the GT3 for example, for a long time we had a problem with ABS on that car because of the way that the suspension is modeled. It isn't a copy paste across the different vehicles. It's a huge project per vehicle, and once you get into the rhythm of them, because it takes we've been running a lot of multi-hour Le Mans races recently, but you get used to a car once you've driven it for several hundred laps, let's say.
Absolutely.
You get the different personalities of the different cars, and the audio comes through at the same time. So I hope people pick their favorite and then try others.
No, that's really the thing. Like, I feel like the front engine, rear drive cars are so much different from, especially like the Porsches. It's something very individual to get used to. So yeah, my favorite so far was the Aston Martin, I think, because it was quite friendly to pick up if you are more like of a casual sim racer who doesn't like race every day. It's just easier to get in because the balance of the cars is much easier to get used to. And I think that's why I'm looking forward to the Lexus in particular, because that's the same root of car, I would say. No, I really like the difference that you can feel between the different concepts of different cars. So there will also be some, for the multiplayer people, there will be some more changes in the BOP. So some cars gain some weight, some cars will lose some weight. Is there any other changes also to the hypercars, or is it just really the weight that you adjust to get the cars on a similar performance again?
Well, no, we use a variety of techniques just as they would in real life as well. I mean, there is obviously weight. We've been shifting the cars around a lot as well, trying to find out exactly where weight is positioned in the cars, because the center of gravity makes a big difference. The performance capabilities, how slippery the cars are when we get extra aero data, that also gets fed into the BOP. So it's a bit of a painstaking process to try and balance them. And you can't make the cars all completely equal,
I guess,
because they are all unique vehicles in their own right. So what you'll find is some will have an advantage in different conditions, like could be, for example, we did a Le Mans race the other day, and I picked a McLaren GT3, and I found that was pretty good on the cold tires, more so than, let's say, the 911 or even the Lambo. But they come into their own as they start to get the tires up to temperature. So you find that the cars can have a kind of different performance characteristic depending on temperatures, wear, and everything else. But over the period of a longer race, you kind of end up in sync, and that is so cool when it clicks.
Yeah, I hope. I mean, it's quite common, and you probably can't prevent that. But in online, it always turns out that there is this meta car. For example, if you jump into online races, most likely half of the field at least will consist of BMWs in LMGT3, or maybe the Toyota and the Ferrari in the hypercars. So you feel like you are more driving a Ferrari MGR Cup there than a hypercar race. But that's just I think that's others also can't prevent that. It's just how it's going, right? Sometimes,
but also some of those cars. Yeah, well, it's about equalizing it, but it's also understanding that we are learning about the cars and the engine ourselves all the time. Right? So that's one of the reasons why we ended up changing. We talk about changing the tire model again, but obviously we've added new cars, and we've revisited a lot of the cars, because the BMW was, very prevalent in online races. It was very well balanced. It has its own kind of suspension characteristics and model. And we took learnings from that vehicle, because I used to drive the BMW very early on in this GT3 Tyre revision. And I used to say to the team, this is my favorite car. This just hooks up. This feels so good I can lean on it. Others with a different driving preference didn't like that. So we've taken those learnings and we deployed them across the cars. And we'll be watching what's most used online. But it might not just be performance, it's also your driving preference.
Absolutely. I think my microphone should be back to normal now. It's just my driving and the force feedback rattles lose my preamp sometimes, so bear with me, but should be okay now. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good to hear. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah. One more that I got on the list that came up multiple times, and I know we're probably stretching your time a little bit already.
No, you entertain me. It's gone very quickly. Yeah, hit me with the difficult ones. I'm as open as can be.
Nice. That's always good to hear. Now, just to get one of the more frequently asked ones out of the way, I don't think it's particularly difficult in that sense, but people have been wondering whether or not you are considering adding more real-life WEC features like slow zones, safety cars, full course yellow, busy pits, the qualifying format with Hyperpole, for instance. We've been wondering in an article in the past as well. Is that something you guys are on?
We're not actively working on them. is the short answer. They do come up in conversation internally, and there are wish lists. There are some technical designs for some of these features as well. I think it's a case of us again needing to focus, especially as we're only coming up to version 1.0. I think we're almost at bursting point with this, update and what's happening over the next several weeks. Almost at bursting point. We put as much as we could in. We're trying to get our hands around it. It needs to be used in the wild, and we need to further refine it, because as much as we organise our own internal tests with 40 staff and a bunch of very helpful alpha testers under NDA, there's no comparison to releasing it into the wild. So we get a lot of feedback from the community, and I'm looking forward to that. But there's a never-ending list of things that we would like to incorporate in there to better reflect the real world. I'm sure they'll come with time. They just won't be here tomorrow.
Yeah, that's always the thing. I don't think there are many racing sims that are 1 or 2 year projects really out there. Like not in the hardcore space, if you will. We'll see. Let's look back in like 2-3 years and see where the sim is at. Yeah, I mean, compared to its early access release last year, I think it has come quite a long way. And I think one of or an interesting question in that regard was that at that time, Motorsport games in particular still had a bit of a difficult standing, to put it mildly, among the
it's very polite of you to say.
I try to be diplomatic. And I personally, and a lot of others, I think too, have the feeling that this has somewhat reversed a little bit, by now anyway. The question that came up on the website, though, was how did the team face this adversity and work through it? Because you always mentioned, of course, how much heart and soul they pour into it. But I bet it has to be, or had to be, quite difficult at times, right? So how did the team handle that?
I mean, the team that remained with us today, because there are a lot of very good people who are no longer with us. The unfortunate, casualties of a company that was in disarray, with everybody throwing rocks at it, running out of cash, didn't have, a good product pipeline. What's a games company or a simulation company without a great product? There's nothing there, right? So we started to course correct that just over a couple of years ago now, and I think people bought into what we were trying to change because they knew change was necessary, and they had grown, very tired and frustrated of how it was operating previously, because they can do great work and they wanted to demonstrate that. So actually, it was quite easy to maintain that morale internally, because they knew that we were not going right anymore. We were going to go left, and try to make a great title on the strengths that we had within the studio. And it's not a super complex thing to do. It's quite simple in terms of strategy. But when you see other people in the company leaving, and the company is shrinking, and there wasn't a future, and they needed a cash investment. People are people, humans are humans. You still need to put food on the table. So against that backdrop, I'd say it's probably challenging for people, but they had a belief. They somehow believed in me as well, and I'll be forever thankful for that. And I think we managed to get out the other side. And it's all based on relaunching the company with a great sim title and getting back to doing what, we're good at. And that's followed on with, Pimax investment, everybody saying good things about the product, the company starting to turn a profit. I mean, it's night and day. So we won, but we know there's a lot more to do, and we're not resting. So it was tough for some people, but we try to shield them from that as much as possible. It's just me that aged and, lost my hair and looked a lot older. You'll probably see me on the early videos to the ones now. I look about 50 years old.
We're all getting older, yeah.
Yeah,
Renee can tell a lot about this.
Yep. Can't avoid that for sure. So a bit of adversity there, I think, but perseverance, I think, is the key word here. Yeah, another one that has been popping up in the live chat in particular quite often is the question about console versions. We've talked about this in the past, right? In the not too distant past, actually. But people are wondering, is LMU going to come to console? When is it going to come to console? And the PlayStation specific, or the PlayStation-based sim racers are wondering, could this then also have PSVR 2 support?
So yeah, we've always had a desire to bring it to console. Again, we needed the finance and the runway to do that, because when you're running out of cash and you have we're still a public company, don't forget, on the NASDAQ. It's a big operation for the shoulders of an early access title on PC. And over the last few months, we've been more heavily engaged with external development studios that would bring, a high-end simulation like LMU to console. We've got a lot of feedback and proposals from them now, and quotes on the price and the timings, and we're going through those. But because of the success of LMU on PC, there have also been other proposals come to the table as well that might see us go in a slightly different route and possibly even grow and do the console port ourselves. It doesn't mean that work hasn't started. It actually started 2 years ago when we started the PC version, because the PC version, using some of the underpinnings of R-Factor 2, a lot of that technology needed to get rewritten, and antiquated systems needed to be removed for performance reasons, which will help us in the transition to console. So it's not going to be a complete start from zero. We're getting to a position where we can really accelerate once we give the green light console dev go ahead. I think it's going to be happening. I'm more confident of that than ever. And again, that's because I think Le Mans is turning into a viable endurance racing franchise now, because there are so many kind of content opportunities for it. We're just at the beginning of that journey, and I want to see console, Xbox and PlayStation, part of that experience, because what options do you have on console right now? They're not that many if you want this kind of experience. I know there are other titles coming into the mix, but they're just pretenders. This is the real deal, and I'd like to bring this to console.
Now that's a word, I'd say.
Yeah, at least the AI traffic management. Like, I'm right now in the phase of the race where the hypercars catch up to the LMGT3s, and it's amazing. Like, even with AI, it's very, very, very good. I think like the AI could be a bit more like active in terms of like when you drive in class, they could battle it a little bit more. I think so. It sometimes feels a little bit like a train, and you are fighting one by one, but it's rarely happening that they are also fighting each other. But I think if you put that in perspective,
yeah, you can modify it with an
aggression slider. The aggression slider.
Yeah, but there needs to be more of revision to it. We don't spend enough time on the AI now, the stage that we're in. But going towards the dream of a career mode in future, that's going to be a big part of what we do. And AI driving is a huge element, and also making a human player part of an AI team is important as well. So I think we've got a great basis to work on.
No, it's getting
but there's more to be done there. Yeah. And it's very difficult to get the AI to work perfectly. So we're in a great position, and I think we can improve that further.
Yep. Yeah. So also very very interesting to think about getting a broader audience player base in that regard, because like you say, there isn't that much available on consoles right now. Question that also came up in the chat: would that then also include crossplay? Is that something you would want to include?
I think it's viable. The engineering team will probably kill me for saying that, but they're not here right now, so I can say what I want. I think it's viable. I mean, people, even when crossplay became available, there was sometimes a resistance to do that from developers, because they used to cheat on the console version, and it used to be a lower fidelity driving model versus PC.
I actually haven't tested it with a controller yet, so it has to have then obviously a good also controller support. And as I just bought the Nintendo Switch 2 the other day, will there be then also a Switch 2 version?
Well, I don't know. I think it's pushing it. Yeah. Our sales guy, who's really good, a guy called John Tibble, is like, he's been amazing for us recently. He was here in season 1 of Motorsport Games, and he came back again recently for the new version of the company. led by Studio 397. He's done a great job, and he keeps asking for Switch 2. That might be a push for this tech, but getting onto console will work because yes, you can play it on the PC right now. You can just plug a controller in, or get a wireless one set up. Some people in the office play very competitively on a control pad.
I see. Okay.
And there are various underlying systems. So the marketing guys say to go to console, it needs to be more accessible. And I'm saying, what's more accessible than just plugging a control pad in, switching a couple of helps on, and competing at the front of the pack? It's already there. People can do it. I don't know how they do it. They've got the wheel and everything. I don't like the fact that I spent $2,000 on something and they've got a $30 controller, but it's possible. Right? They can compete. So we're ready for console. It's just not on the console yet.
All right.
Yeah, that should also be a something to keep an eye on then. We'll try and stay on top of that. Of course, we've had a few news here and there about that. But yeah, should be a pretty positive sort of foundation, I think, to go from here. That said, I'm not sure if everyone actually got that when it happened with the Pimax investment. We had a talk about the financial implications of that, of course, as well. And you mentioned that it frees up some time, I guess, or it makes things a little bit easier moving forward. But in general, how is LMU performing right now in that regard?
LMU is doing wonderfully well, and it needs to, because our future was really resting on LMU. We went to the casino and we just rolled the dice, and we put everything on red.
Wow!
And that's worked out. I think it's because we focused on, I don't want it to sound horrible, but we focused on just trying to create a simulation title that we ourselves would enjoy and be proud of. And then we thought that would help us fix the rest of the business. We didn't focus on the share price. We don't focus on stories. The board at Motorsport Games say I should spend as much time, creating material for investors in the market than we do creating the narrative for the community with the videos that we put out. But the videos that we put out for the community was us trying to open up the doors and say the people that are here now that are heavily involved care about this, and I think people have recognized that, which has helped the company reputation. And people are buying LMU, and people are recommending that their friends buy it, and that for us is awesome. It's not the most expensive product in the world, even though sometimes in the sim racing space, if something's $1, people say, why isn't it 50 cents? I get that, but if you drop the money on LMU right now, I think you get an amazing experience, and it's getting stronger and stronger. And we're still pushing free stuff. Am I allowed to say that yet? We're still going to be pushing free stuff into the product, right? So we care about that. We do have a business to run, and we've got mouths to feed. And this is a very expensive proposition. We made the game. We've got the online service. We've got the paint shop stuff and distributing all the textures to players. We're trying to make that sim racing space neater by owning more of the overall experience. And I think that's really working out for us. People are appreciating that and talking positively about the product and therefore the company. And we couldn't have wished for more. I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It's kind of word of mouth, I guess. It also helped a lot that you were present at different events last year and this year as well. So if any one of you is heading to Le Mans this weekend, be sure to look out for the LMU and Pimax tent. They are both present. So yeah, that should be a good time to have there.
Yeah. Have you already touched on this presentation that this will be on Friday, right? You will announce more stuff. Then even that is still like embargoed by now. But yeah. So where can people watch this? Is it on the LMU YouTube channel then as well?
Yeah, we will push it out. I think it's either going to go live because we can't broadcast the actual press conference that we have for the ACO.
Okay.
But it's nice to be in the same building with them and sim racing to be taken seriously, and we're definitely being taken seriously now. It's a really big thing inside Le Mans endurance racing and with the manufacturers. So we're proud to present with them. But because that isn't broadcast or televised, we have some material that will be pushed out at the same time. And then we'll be announcing, more things that we're doing with LMU, where it's going, what the roadmap is, and all of this exciting stuff that we're very proud to talk about, because now we do have runway in the future for the company. And we've got a runway in the future for the company because of this amazing community, putting their hand into the pocket and participating in what we're building. And I couldn't be more thankful. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, including Overtake, for supporting us and showcasing us. And I hope we're doing the right thing and people are having fun.
Yeah, I mean,
it seems that way. Definitely.
Supporting in that case, we just tell people our opinion, and as we like it, that's kind of how it works. Yeah. So you also doing a great job in many cases. Maybe if the community is okay, I have a personal question then even, because I'm really interested in the car, and I think we asked that like 1.5 or 2 years ago. The Garage 56 NASCAR. Is there still a chance? Is there still a chance?
There was always a chance. There's more of a chance now. I mean, Motorsport Games history with NASCAR was not the proudest time for the company, and we're almost too embarrassed to try and push to get a NASCAR in LMU. Where we are now and the relationship we have with NASCAR and everybody in the US is much stronger, and I think for me it would be super cool to be driving that vehicle around a multi-class race around Le Mans, and I think we're going to make that happen. It's not on the content factory floor at the moment, but I don't think it has to be here tomorrow. I think even if it's 6 months down the line, it will still be an amazing piece of content to enjoy in LMU. So watch this space.
Yeah, and so I guess you can also maybe share some ideas about, will there be also, because the name of the title is Le Mans Ultimate, and I would kind of expect also Le Mans Ultimate for me means also the history of Le Mans, right? Le Mans started not 2024, but it started way earlier, and we have so many great cars, great years, great versions of the track, even like from different centuries. Is that something that is still kind of on the long-term agenda for Le Mans Ultimate?
Yeah, it's more of a passion product. So there's not in the dev pipeline at the moment, but the historic content is important. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. When I came back to the company, which is now 2 years, 2 months ago, I probably remember that to the minute of why did I say yes to come back to this? And now I'm very pleased that I did. So the team have done an amazing job. When we were talking about this product that became Le Mans Ultimate and the title flashed up as Le Mans Ultimate, I said, what the heck is Ultimate about this? What are we going to do to justify that brand name?
Yeah.
And maybe I was a bit negative about that. Ben Roster Turner and his team come up with this great title. Now it's totally fitting in my mind. There's so much content in here, there's so many features, and there's more to come that I think it already justifies the name. And LMU is so easy to kind of roll off the tongue now, and I see people mentioning it everywhere, typing it everywhere. It's got its own identity. The name is justified. But it means there's so much more that can come into the product, right? And we all have our own ideas as to what that should be. I want to see that Garage 56 NASCAR car in there. I want, my preference is let's get some 50s cars in there from Le Mans as well, like a Ferrari kind of 250 Testarossa. I want to see those things in there. Things that are just a bit wild to drive, that are very different. I want that stuff in. But that's just my vote, So there's a huge kind of roadmap opportunity of content. We won't build all of it, but I think there can be some special vehicles that come in because we try to make race events out of the content. Well, there you go. Look, you had that waiting to come in, didn't you? Yeah.
Yep, all the time. There's a 917 on the other side as well.
Well, I'll tell you what you can do. With the livery editor, you can probably put that on a hypercar and you can begin the dream of driving it around the track. You might have seen the team created for me a little Martini liveried Houdini Porsche GT3 that I've been driving around the track at the moment. That's my car now.
Yeah.
And you get more of an attachment to the vehicles. So
from tomorrow, people who have the RaceControl subscription, they can also download the templates and stuff, or are they already available somewhere?
Yeah, they will be able to start getting those shortly.
Okay. Some people some people were a bit sad that it's like hidden behind a little like a monthly subscription to also work on the liveries and stuff. But it's kind of, to me it's kind of clear why you have to do this, like hosting the online servers and online services, and also doing like the sync. This all requires server server power, and therefore I can understand
costs.
where you are come from.
Yeah.
Where you come from, but
yes. Look, let me address it because people think we're squeezing for money. It's not the case at all. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff that you can do into the product without even having, a monthly fee or subscription. And who wants to add more subscriptions? We're bombarded by them left, right, and center, right? And sometimes at the end of every month, when you think, "Where's all my money gone?" you start going through your list of subscriptions and say, "What can I cut and what should I keep?"
yeah, true.
So throwing another one into the mix, I totally get that. That's normal. But for us, when we started out, and I made reference to this, we had this vision of trying to bring together, the online store, the online service, and the funnel for matchmaking and players, building the product ourselves, trying to market it with no money, and doing everything ourselves. So that the moment you bought the title and then got into the experience through to completing it, it was in our service, in our framework, wherever possible. That's been a huge, huge undertaking. But we did that to try and tidy up some of the experience in sim racing and provide an opportunity for others to come in. Like I mentioned, Dave Burrell and the SimGrid team and Coach Dave Delta, to supply setups. We'll probably open the doors there as well. Like more people will be able to get involved because we own this framework. We were spending tens of thousands of dollars on servers at the beginning of the LMU existence before we charged a penny other than purchasing the game from Steam. We absorbed all of those costs. We can't do that continually because it's just bad business practice. But for the small subscription fee that we can charge, and you can kind of choose where you sit, nothing, a mid ground and a high ground, we put more and more value into that all the time. That's our mission. We don't expect everybody to pay. That'd be amazing if they did, but there's not going to be a reason for everybody to pay. But if you come in now, you're getting more and more value all the time because we're putting more stuff into that, and that will be used in the future as well for other ideas and projects that we have. So I don't think it's terrible. I think it's a necessity, but we also do it with a view to making the experience better for the end user, which is our mission.
Yeah, I think that should be the mission as well. I think many tend to overlook that sometimes, but yeah, that's definitely a good one. Something else that connected to that really popped up in chat a bunch of times really.
Sorry, Yannik, one follow-up question maybe. So as Stephen mentioned, really sorry, but it just came to my mind and I don't want to lose the thought. So as you just mentioned, there will be more features, of course, coming to RaceControl and the RaceControl Plus membership. Could it also be that in the future, when you add more and more features, that maybe some of the other features become base features? For instance, the livery stuff. Is that something?
Kind of where we wanted to go.
Okay.
Oh, is it really? Okay, perfect. You're working in sync against me, and I've not really considered that. I wouldn't say no, but that livery service, for us is expensive again because when I came back to the racing segment, and I was enjoying, and I still think it's amazing today, playing a lot of ACC. And being involved in various communities like Toga Motorsport is the one I infiltrated very early on, and they had a few, tens of members. Now I think they're like 3,000 people now, and getting involved in that from a ground level, hiding the fact that I'm CEO of a games company, at least to begin with, and just experiencing it. Like, how do you sign up for events? How the heck do you paint a car? Because I'm a terrible artist, right? I can't do anything, but I can change some colors and stuff like that. How do I distribute that and make sure I've got everybody? It was a nightmare. Half the time it worked, half the time it didn't work, right? And I don't want to mess around with stuff like that. What we've got is an improvement from what's normally available in the wild right now because we own that service. And the servers where you submit your skin, it goes up and gets processed. It sends imagery back down to the game so you can see the little thumbnails in the game, distributes to everybody ahead of a race. That's taken a lot of time and money and server power that's going to be on continually. And we charge a few, pennies for these things in the grand scheme of things. So I'm not looking to make that free. What we tried to do is make it as accessible and as open as possible. Not everybody needs to have it in order to get the skins, and you'll still see everybody else's stuff. So
yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's terribly evil. We tried to be as kind as possible, but we still, are a struggling small boutique
No,
simulation developer.
fair enough.
And,
People, people have. I think I saw this popping up quite often now in the chat as well, like about the telemetry, and I agree. Some telemetry features are not available yet. For instance, we don't have on my steering wheel. I don't have, for example, the state of charge, or other things like the TC number and whatever, like easy things that don't really affect the driving. Is that something your team is also looking into to make some more telemetry features available, also for people who run external like hardware that relies on certain information?
Yeah, we're trying to get to the point where we can standardize it. A lot of that stuff is the shared memory plugins that people have. They're just trying to capture data from the game that's accessible, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's been a pretty much standard experience in sim racing for a long time. You have all these other very cool developers who focus on specific things to improve the simulation experience, but they're trying to do that on the outside of the development studio and outside of the product. And invariably, when the developers change something and it breaks, it changes for the developers as well. Even hardware manufacturers, like I've got a SimMagic wheel, and I've got the haptic pedals. And early on in the LMU life cycle, the haptic pedals didn't work. Well, they did in ACC. When I jump into LMU, even though it was early access, I expected it to work as well. It didn't, because they weren't up to speed with what we were doing with the product.
That's the problem. Yeah.
And as we were changing stuff in the code, it was breaking. So we're looking at making like a standard API so that everybody can access that, and then it's more consistent. Because right now is a bit of a wild west for people, and that's not good for the end user, because it means things aren't consistent or immediately readily available. So we'll get there to tidy that up as well. But I feel like we as Studio 397 have to lead the charge to tidy that up. But we can't do it all overnight. We will get there.
All right. People have also been asking about the 2025 content. Of course, there was one confirmed livery already, or shown livery, and a certain teaser of a rather good sounding race car recently. But is there anything you can tell them about that?
Yes, I mean, don't forget, my head gets lost in where we are on the timeline. When we do these kind of Q&As and what's going on internally, what I'm allowed to say and not allowed to say, I kind of forget who I am. Like, you end up having 15 different personalities in different kind of periods of time. What we've been trying to do is catch up with the 2024 content, so it's all delivered, right? That was the most recent mission. We've caught up with that. We're building faster than the new stuff comes out now, because we're up to speed. And I think that means, without giving too much away, that some of that cool 2025 stuff that people are already hearing is playable within the product in development right now, and is probably not too far from coming out of the garage into the pit lane for the public. I think that's very close. And you were going to switch from, well, there's not enough to drive on and there's not enough cars, to, wow, there's so much content, how do I get to enjoy all of it? We're nearly there. I look forward to it all. I mean, it is very exciting for us as well, and it is going to be a fully fledged 2025 game before you know it.
All right. I think it might make sense for everyone to keep both eyes open on Friday then for the press conference and announcements, because there are a bunch of questions that we've seen probably a million times by now, but rest assured we didn't skip over them just consciously because we don't care about them. There should be some answers hopefully sometime soon. So keep your eyes peeled. Michel, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just happy about this like information, because it's amazing. I mean, that also means if we look at like online racing, I know there are a few like instances where you can also still run the GTEs for example, but that means also if you have a 2025 roster, there will naturally some cars disappearing that you put so much time and effort in, like the Lambo SC63 and also the GT3. In GT3 I think there's also a few cars that could go. Would you be like keen on making the whole like online mode a bit more unrealistic and still put cars in that are not competing in the WEC?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because I really like the Lambo, so we better make sure that's available online as well. Yeah, because I don't mind that kind of people eventually mixing and matching that content, because you own the car, you want to use it online, and yes, you're right. A lot of the online events that we control with our own system means, some weeks it's GTE, and a lot more weeks it will be GT3 because they're a bit more popular and easier to drive.
But as long as
that
there's
mixing
no
and matching is cool.
Yeah, as long as there's no big regular updates or rule set update for the cars, so they are completely different. But I think from 24 to 25, there's not much of a difference other than the real BOP that they applied, probably. So there was no big changes in tires or whatnot. So
roll out those privateer Lambos. Then.
Yeah, cool. That's really nice. That's cool. That's a cool bit of information.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to sort of wrap it up as far as I remember regarding your schedule, Steven. But something that also popped up a bunch of times in the chat and by now was would Studio 397 or Motorsport Games consider working with leagues, with esports organizers to improve things like broadcasting options or just general settings, performance stuff for these hosted races?
I mean, we consider working with everybody. I mean, if I open LinkedIn these days on my phone, LinkedIn's become the new Facebook, but LinkedIn, I'm constantly getting, invitations from leagues and people that run leagues and esports drivers, and that for me is a positive sign. I mean, I don't get through clicking accept on all of them, but the fact that there's a lot of attention now for LMU, it for me is a good sign. I'm not getting messages saying, this is terrible, I want my money back. People are asking for more features and more experience and integration, and often reaching out to say, how can we help? Like that's a big change, and that's a positive thing for us. And we do work with some leagues and organizers at the moment because we needed to really inflate the numbers for a lot of our private testing with different drivers, different hardware, from different leagues, different organizers, especially with things like driver swaps and team events and stuff like this. We don't have the headcount internally to do that. Our QA team is 2 people. There's just 2 individuals in QA. Some QA teams in Formula 1 is probably like 50 to 150 people. We're doing it with 2 people, right? So everybody ends up becoming a tester and helping, and we rely on a lot of leagues and organizers to share the right people in those events, and that has been very fruitful. So we're not too elitist. We are happy to talk to anybody. We probably know 99% of the things that we need to deliver anyway, but what we're trying to do is integrate with those leagues so that they can see what is coming, so they can be better prepared for it, because I think there could be a whole kind of positive explosion of activity with these new features coming to the table, and about time too. So it's a short way of saying, yes, we do talk to them. We don't talk to everybody continually, but we're very open, so reach out.
Right, you heard it here. So if you got any ideas, suggestions, feedback, reach out to Studio 397 and see what we can do as a community then.
Just don't post my email address in the chat, otherwise I probably won't have time to get through all of them.
Yeah, that might be difficult, that's for sure.
Reach out to Overtake first of all if you want to talk to me.
We'll happily pass on any sort of questions too. So yeah, we have a lot more on the list too. So like I said, probably won't make it through everything, and that has proven true so far. One more thing I think that's important for people to know regarding Friday's announcements and press conference. What time's that going to be at, actually?
Oh, well, I can't remember off the top of my head. I am told to be at a certain place at a certain time, and as it's on Friday, I don't even know what time I'm arriving myself. I'm going to drive Friday morning. I'm going to drive or get the train. I don't even know yet, and I've got to be here on Friday.
Just regularly check Overtake GG, guys. We will update you on that.
The easiest way, yes.
Keep refreshing in the morning on Friday, all morning, and you'll get more info. Yeah, it might be 11 o'clock or something like that. Sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know.
Actually,
without my kind of team telling me where to be, I've got no idea what I'm doing. I can barely make breakfast in the morning.
Actually, our Markus Sörholm will be on site, and he will also check out your presence in the mall, so it's probably also having a camera filming some stuff that is happening there. So we will also have some sort of live impression from Le Mans, from the Le Mans Ultimate booth, so we're happy about that.
Fantastic, look forward to that.
Gonna be great fun, I'm sure. All right. Yeah, like I said, I think we are nearing the end here of your time. I mean, we certainly could keep going for like another 3 hours, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, schedules are schedules, of course. So yes, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time to go through a lot of our questions here in chat and from our community. I think that was very interesting insight. Yeah, so yeah, looking forward to hopefully doing this a few more times in the future. And yeah, keep the questions coming. We are always looking to get answers for you, of course. So yeah, if you got anything, shoot them to us. Michel, anything you still have on your heart, so to speak, to terribly translate a German phrasing, basically?
No, just really kudos to Steven, who exceeded his like appointed time with us here massively today. So yeah, just thank you for being so open. And yeah, letting us know about a little bit of the future of Le Mans Ultimate and what's also happened in the past, and yeah, also talking so openly about the business part. And yeah, I think we learned a lot, and I'm really looking forward to more 2025 content then as well. And yeah, next week I'm going to be racing online for sure with the new Lexus. I just found out it's my new main
With
car.
the Lexus.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay,
fun,
what can
yeah.
I pick to go against the Lexus? Yeah, yeah, it's good to know. And let me say thank you so much for having me on this Q&A, live Q&A, because it's really important to get the message out there. You guys are super professional as well. So despite the fact that I turn up 5 seconds before the stream goes live, you've got me into place, and I appreciate that. It makes a big difference to me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you. I'd stay for longer if I didn't have to jump into another meeting in 6 minutes, but I've also got to wear the business hat and go and do some other boring stuff.
The other side of sim racing. It is what it is. No, but like I said, thank you very much for taking the time. We very much appreciate you doing this, taking the time for our community first and foremost, of course. And yeah, what's there to say other than have fun and enjoy Le Mans?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Cool. See you then. Bye. Bye, Steven.
Take care, Steven. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Let me know if Steven's gone.
I think so. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So it's just the two of us.
It's just the two of
now.
us. Yeah, we can quickly also. I hired the volume of LMU again, so we all can enjoy. We can all enjoy the V8 of the Lexus quickly. So I got it a bit higher to what we had it in the beginning when people told me it's too loud because we really wanted to focus on the interview, and I think that's fine. So I had the game volume quite down a little bit. But yeah, Steven was very open, right? What do you think, Yannik?
Yep. Yeah, very enjoyable talk for one. I think we like you said, we learned a lot of interesting insight here. And yeah, he was very, very open. I don't think that's all that usual for a CEO of a studio or a publisher in this case, but really it's basically the same these days with Motorsport games and Studio 397.
Yeah.
But that was why we wanted to do this or as a live Q&A, and I'm very happy he was up for it. So I'm sure many of you guys in chat are as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as we said, we will learn a little bit more on Friday. I guess they will talk a little bit more about like upcoming content. Have we completed the season pass by now? By the way, Yannik, is it the final DLC now for 2024? Right? It's update 5.
Yes.
Correct. It's DLC.
Exactly.
5.
Yeah. Yeah. It was supposed to be 4 DLC packs for 2024, but that was expanded to 5. I think at the start of the year. But the 5th pack is still part of the season pass, so that will be complete. The 2024 driver, car, team lineups will be complete, as will the calendar with Lusail, Qatar, as you've seen. So 2024 is good to go, and yeah, looking forward to 2025 then, which shouldn't be too far off either anymore from what Steven said, right?
Yeah, he said it's going to be rather sooner than late, and that's great to hear as well. I mean, then we heard the V12 of the Aston Valkyrie in the video in the dev update, so that's nice. I can also tell you a little bit about the Tyre update. So the LMGT3 Tyre update, it's now more snappy, so you can't really rely too much on the slip angle anymore. I think that's what people were doing in the LMGT3s, like just abusing the slip angle to its extent, and the limit was way like widespread compared to now. You saw me a few times struggling a bit, especially in the low speed, tight stuff where you can lose the car really, really quickly. And I'm not quite sure if I really like that more than before, but overall the car feels a bit more tight. But also the limit is like, I would say 20 to 30% less forgiving than before. So it definitely is more challenging to get the car under control. But I'm also driving here with standard setup, so we have to wait a little bit, like next week, to also have like the pro drivers and the more experienced drivers testing LMU. But my first impression is, yeah, a bit more snappy on the rear. Imola was a bit easier with the Lambo, but here, especially like Sebring, the hairpin stuff and super tight corners is sometimes a bit tricky, because the car really certainly, spins out in the rear.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I noticed when trying the preview version first. These turns where you really trail brake to the apex, you really have to make sure that you aren't going too fast, because if you turn too much, then it'll just snap and you're gone pretty much.
Yeah, but you can now hear
that wasn't
V8.
Yeah, that wasn't the case quite before, but makes the approach a little bit different, I think. And I mean, it was alright in the Lexus because front engine cars are a bit more forgiving in that sense, but the Lambo's gonna need some serious practice to really tame it. I'm pretty sure there is a lot of pace in there, but it's gonna be pretty special to get right, I think.
I think people will love the Lexus. It's kind of in the middle ground between the Mustang, which was also highly popular, and the BMW. It has kind of the balance of the BMW, but the V8 power and engine characteristics of the Mustang, and it's lovely. I think this will be my new go-to car next week then, or tomorrow when the servers go back online. Yeah, we will also try the online stuff then with the teams and liveries and stuff. I think the best way to go right now, if you want to save some money to get your team liveries and stuff, or get together with a group of friends. One of you purchases this like Plus membership, and then the Plus membership member can manage the team. And I think also as a free user, you will be able to join the team, and then the team leader can apply the liveries, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. So important to differentiate here. There is RaceControl Pro, which is the less expensive paid tier, so to speak. And then there's RaceControl Pro Plus, which has everything, and also the nice benefit of including all DLC for not only LMU but also R Factor 2. I think that tends to get overlooked a little bit here and there. But you need a RaceControl Pro at the least, or at least to apply liveries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think the way you suggested there was probably the best or the easiest to get that.
That's the way. If you have like a league or like the car is so snappy here in this turn. So if you have a league or a group of friends, but otherwise you just go with the normal one. And it's still, if you get the season pass, you can still get the season pass as well. Then you get all the content from 2024, and then you buy the game that was on discount already, right? It was I think on sale for 35 or something.
I think
at some
so.
point?
Yeah. It's, you at least you save some significant percentage of the DLC if you don't own it.
And I mean, then you pay like what is the RaceControl membership? $80 per year, something like that.
Let me actually check.
But it's still like you then have access to all the content, and you can still race online, and it's still like, if you compare it to iRacing, right? We all know how expensive iRacing can get if you have to buy all the tracks, all the cars of a season you want to participate in. And what I just love about LMU is the multi-class. It's every race is interesting, even if you are down in the field, but you still have to manage traffic and stuff, and it's just amazing. I really enjoy it.
Yep, same here. RaceControl Pro is $48 a year, and RaceControl Pro Plus is $84 a year.
Yeah, okay,
so it's,
okay. Double,
it
right?
Is more expensive.
So if you have
slightly less than double, but
but if you have just 3 people who want to make use of the liveries and stuff, you could probably just have one guy getting the pro membership and the other 2 joining your team.
Yeah.
That works already, and then you
go in. Then it's gonna be super cheap for everyone if you split that by 3 or whatever.
And 8 people can join into one group, right? Or one team? Is it like that? Yeah, but it's
the base version. It's less, or it's not that many. Yes, I think you can do up to 100 and multiple cars in up to 10 cars, I believe it was, in the RaceControl Pro version. So because you can actually split that to different cars, not like in iRacing where you have to create a team blue, create a team red, and whatever of the same team.
Yeah, we will obviously create also an overtake team, and we can get as many people as possible to join there. And if there are people out there who love to create liveries and maybe are up to create a simple overtake liveries together with us, just contact us on our Discord. And talking about memberships, that's maybe a good time to also place our own extra service that we have on the website, like Premium. You also get a few benefits there, right? We have also for people who getting into online racing, we have Overtake Turbo, which is in partnership with Track Titan. So first of all, Overtake Premium is $1 or €1 a month. So $12 or $12.99 or $11.99 per year, which is not that big of a stretch, obviously, and you get a lot of stuff there. Ad-free experience on the website, racing club events, like special events where you drive. We now participated in a few of those events. It's fantastic, mostly very fair guys, friendly atmosphere. So if you want that casual, like, league experience, where you don't have to, be afraid of losing your iRacing or safety ratings, Overtake Premium is the way to go, because you have Racing Club, Premium, Premium you have, but you have Racing Club, you have Turbo with the Track Titan stuff, and ad-free, and even more, right? We have special discount codes for certain sim racing manufacturers where you can even save a lot of stuff. If you even plan to buy stuff, you can even save the Premium membership already just with this discount code. That is then unique to the Premium members. So check out Overtake GG.
Don't forget the giveaways.
Yeah, giveaways. We have monthly giveaways. We gave away already to many happy guys, like full sets of pedals and so there's a lot of stuff.
I think a handbrake and a sequential shifter were already in there as well. And I mean, okay, this wasn't for Premium members only in this case, but we also, as part of this Q&A, hosted a LMU key giveaway. So if you dropped us a question on the website for that, we should be in touch soon or announce the winner soon to see who will join the LMU grid soon then.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys have any questions left, it's also then a great, if you're already on Overtake GG, it's the perfect way would be just to get into our like news section, look for that like LMU news, the latest one, and then maybe just, or in our Discord as well. You don't have to go to Overtake GG necessarily, just join our Discord. It's all in the video description down below, by the way. And if you have more questions, we have also a Le Mans Ultimate channel. And if you feel like we forgot something, just let us know, and we will put that on the list, because we even didn't get through the whole list today, right, Yannik?
Not at all, no. We still have a bunch of questions on there. Like I said, we didn't ignore them because we just didn't find them interesting or anything. It's just a matter of time. You saw how long it took and how long we could have been keeping going, I think. But that doesn't mean that we can't chase answers for you still. So let's see if we can get some info out of the LMU guys, probably after Le Mans, because they're going to be ultra busy now, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely.
But this definitely isn't just one and done. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think the 2 new cars, much fun. I'm not really a fan of Qatar, I have to admit, but that's not LMU's fault. It's just the track that is in the roster. But the track is, I mean, there's also the short version of the track, which is a bit more exciting, maybe for quick fixed races and such. But
I think that cuts out the twisty part, or most of the twisty parts. So that should be a bit yeah, less tedious, I guess. I mean, I tried it in the hypercar before as well, and it's a bit better because it has lots of long, like medium speed or medium-ish speed corners that kind of feel a bit cumbersome in the GT3s, if you ask me. But with the lighter hypercars that have more downforce, it's a bit better, I feel like. But still, yeah, you can't fault Studio 397 for the track design, because the recreation is very detailed and very well done, as always. So, yeah, the layout isn't on them, of course.
Absolutely. That's why I also asked Stephen about is there a chance that other tracks out of the Le Mans or WEC roster could make their way into Le Mans Ultimate, and he kind of said he didn't say no. So.
Yeah, I mean, you
said,
never know.
Yeah, he said he wants it. And what he also wanted was the Garage 56 NASCAR, which is fantastic. I mean,
yes,
that car we've been waiting for a long time now. It's not even in the sim racing anywhere yet. And yeah, we had the console talk as well. Like, it's like we even talked about the Switch 2. No, just kidding. But yeah, consoles are definitely happening. And he was also pretty open about stuff like crossplay, if it's possible. Of course, with I think the R Factor 2 engine in that sense was never on consoles, right? Was it?
I don't think so. Oh. I mean, no, I think RF1 might have been. Was it? No, I think that was just like PC side projects like the Super Formula, or the Super League Formula, sorry, dedicated game a while ago, but I don't think it really came to consoles.
Yeah. And then, yeah, also thank you, René, for being active here in the. I think it was René, right? Could also be Chris, but I think it was René because he reacted when we talked about the aging process, and then René's triggers were already like tingled. So
there was an A in there.
Yeah, GFX updates. I don't know. I mean, that's probably not their focus. I think the graphics, especially in the dark, it didn't look too good, to be honest. Like the shaders on the car. The cars look quite flat when it's like dark, for example, in Qatar. But I'm also not running on ultra settings, just high settings. But the cars, especially, and the reflections look way better in daytime. I don't think that bigger GFX updates are a priority for them right now, to be honest. They are more focusing on getting the content and feature complete for the full release at some point then this year, hopefully. And then I think that we could see more enhancements, and especially because they will go console, they will focus more on getting those like current gen PS5 and Xbox Series consoles optimized. And then maybe if there is a next console generation, I could imagine that they will, like other games do sometimes, apply a graphics update or whatnot. But I don't think that this is on their priority, and I don't even think that this is a priority for the community either, because I think the game looks good enough for what it is, and I think the focus is more on the realistic handling, the authenticity, the racing experience, really. And yeah, I think it. Therefore, if you are driving, you don't take too much of a look outside.
You don't notice
outside
too
the
much.
track.
That's true. That said, though, I do run it on the Ultra preset, I think, with a couple things adjusted here and there, and I think it looks really, really good in some conditions, like in the at dusk or dawn, for instance, or even in the sunlight, because it has these little reflections, these kind of blinding flashes that you will just know if you drive a car on a sunny day. You will, in a corner or something, as the angle changes, you will get blinded for like a fraction of a second there. That sort of stuff. Also at night and in the rain, it looks really, really damn good, I gotta say. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a priority here either. Not that it's needed either.
Yeah.
Performance, like you said, or like Stephen also answered a question or two about, that's probably more of a thing, like optimization, but not necessarily the graphics themselves. I don't think they're really bad at all.
I agree. Yeah. And like in 2 years from now, I think we will have new generations of, for example, AMD CPUs. More people will also upgrade their PCs, and then there might be the time where, for instance, iRacing or more Ultimate can work more on their like shaders and graphics and stuff. But yeah, okay. I think that's it for the most part, right, Yannik? I mean, You can find then the patch notes of the new update tomorrow on. Oh, you might even be allowed to post them today, right? Because the embargo
It's
for.
actually already on overtake.gg.
It's on overtake.gg. Of course it is. So you can see
Yeah,
the full patch notes also on our website for the update
Yeah,
for tomorrow.
also-
Update launches tomorrow. I think around noon or something.
Yes, exactly. Also, Connor has taken the time to write down a couple of key takeaways already. So those are already on the website as well.
Okay.
If you want to check those out instead of just rewatching the entire thing, we strongly suggest you still do because it was a very fun talk. But yeah, for the short breakdown, so to speak, just check our website. That should be
Great.
plenty of info.
Yeah, I hope you guys liked this Q&A, and I hope we satisfied you with our questions, with the answers. So we were always trying hard. It's sometimes not easy with like CEOs and PR managers because they have this like set of or guidelines or frameworks where they can answer stuff and we're not. And sometimes when you guys feel like we let them off the chain too early, sometimes we also know that if we just ask more and more and more, it will lead to nothing and it will only cost more time. So it's always like the soft balance of getting the questions out, but also letting them talk, right? So yeah, I hope we've done well enough for you guys today, but we are obviously also always trying to get better.
Yeah, certainly. Try to get through at least the most frequently asked questions in our comment section. Yeah, as much as I could. Same for the live stream here.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like I said, there are of course a bunch of questions that just didn't quite make it on a time level, basically, or because of the time limit, so to speak.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that doesn't mean they will be unanswered eternally. So yeah, we'll see if we can get an answer for you on those as well.
Yeah, cool. Who's going to Le Mans? Let us know in the comments. And otherwise,
Yeah.
I will not. I just returned from a lot of travel, actually. I was at the Gran Turismo round 1 in London, commentating on the German live stream. Was fun. And I'm glad that I'll be home a little bit now. I will go to Nürburgring 24.
Yeah.
I will see you there, Yannik. We will meet.
Yes.
Maybe we will
It's
even.
gonna be glorious.
I heard it will be worth filming some stuff there as well. There will be announcements during the 24 hours of Nürburgring for Sim Racers 2. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for, like we said, visiting overtake.gg on a daily basis to check for the news, especially on Friday if you're interested in LMU. And that's pretty much it. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Yannik. It was. I had the fun part today. I was just driving and enjoying the drive, and you had you were in the journalist role, kinda.
Yeah, but to be fair, I did get to drive the preview version on Friday already.
Yeah.
So yeah, we both had our share. Mine just wasn't on stream because that would have gotten us a big slap if we did that on Friday already.
What's up, René? We need to keep talking for more thumbs ups, or what? Do we have a special goal for 200 thumbs up, or what is it about now? Everyone like.
Apparently we do, yeah.
Everyone like, come on.
Maybe he just likes the sound of our voices, but I highly doubt that somehow.
No. we talk way too much to René, I feel like. René is still holding.
Holding? Can we stretch that to 200 then? Is that possible, do you think?
I mean, we even sacrificed, like people maybe don't know, but we sacrificed parts of our national holiday. It's Pfingstmontag, yeah? So
yeah, Whitsun Monday, I think is the correct translation, but I think Pfingsten is easier.
So
just roll with that.
Pfingsten. Try to pronounce that. So René is getting fired if we don't hit 200. Maybe that's the reason why we don't hit it. Maybe we should. Yeah.
Maybe just. Well.
It was nice with you, René.
Yeah. Good knowing you.
All right, we will now end the stream, so you guys can also rewatch the VOD that should be online within a few minutes. If you came late to the party, you can check the stream again. I will also add some chapters later on, so to structure the topics that we talked about a little bit, so you can also jump like quickly between the different talking points to make it easier for you guys. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. I will now continue unboxing my Switch 2 and yeah, maybe play some Nintendo games.
That sounds like a plan. All right. Thank you, Michel. It was a wonderful time once again, and thanks everyone in chat as well. So yeah, See you next time. Enjoy your weeks.
See you next time. Bye bye.